Onyx Storm is the worst book so far in the Empyrean series. Does that mean it's bad? No, but it just doesn't compare to Fourth Wing. Hello everyone and welcome to Reading Crossbow. My name is Lena and today I'm here to talk about Onyx Storm, the third book in the Empyrean series, made very popular by the release of the first book, Fourth Wing. Now you might notice I'm not here with my co-host Rob. If you've watched the show before, that's because we do 2 episodes a month for our book club where he recommends a book, I recommend a book, and then we review them together. And then we each try to do 1 episode a month as a solo episode. So this is my solo episode and it is a hot take. So what I'm going to try to do is put up a few categories for Onyx Storm and very quickly give you a hot take for each. There's a lot of videos out right now. People sped read through this book and I'm seeing like 2-3 hour reviews and summaries. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to watch that. I should also let you know that this episode is not going to be spoiler free. I'm not going to go spoiler deep. I'm going to try to mostly scratch the surface, but there are some areas of the book that I just can't avoid when giving you my hot take. So here we go. First section to talk about is the writing and the pacing of the book. Hot take. So I haven't watched too many reviews yet, but from what I've seen, people feel about the same way that I do, is that this book starts out very confusing. So I don't know, Rebecca Yarros, I felt did a really good job from Fourth Wing to Iron Flame, and maybe it's because of the time between the book releases, but I didn't feel like I had that much of a gap between the two or that I had to catch up. Now that is not the case for Onyx Storm, because between Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, oh my gosh, you spend the first 60 pages, I am not kidding you, out of 500 and almost 30, just trying to catch up. And there's so many character names, and I have to tell you, Rebecca Yarros does have a guide. So within the book, within the first few pages, you are going to get a character guide with the dragons, with the signets. So this helps, but it doesn't include all the characters. And there's 3 that I counted in specific in the beginning of the book that weren't on that guide, and I was struggling to figure out who they were. So bad call there. I wish they would have fixed that in editing. There's a lot of great ways that you can summarize the first book, even if it's in like a retrospective conversation between 2 characters. That could have been happened here where 2 people were reminiscing. Instead, there's too many holes. It takes too long to catch up. I found myself incredibly bored. I even commented about that in my Discord. If you follow our Discord, if not, make sure to hop in there because then we can actually talk spoilers if that's what you want to do. So yes, pacing, not great. That also happens later on in the book when they are traveling, where this novel becomes a bit more epic and we get to travel through the lands where we're visiting different islands. Somewhat of a spoiler here, not really from the last book. We're trying to find the rest of Andarna's dragon breed. She's the 7th dragon, so they go on a quest to figure that out. We even get introduced, spoiler, to Satan's mom during those travels, and I can tell you it wasn't needed. So I know Rebecca is trying to build up something amazing for the next 2 books. I just don't think it had to happen in this book. And I'm sure someone will tell me I'm wrong when the 4th book comes out and they're like, see, that was important, but it was too much. It was just simply too much. Boring, bored, All right, hot take number 2. Outside of the pacing, I just wanted to focus on the writing. So my hot take is that it's so much better. So Rebecca has improved and grown tremendously as a writer from book 1 to book 3. If you go back and watch my first review of Fourth Wing, I'll say that I couldn't stand some of the ways that she'd write. Like, oh, he's so hot. He smells like mint and leather, like constantly things like that. And I think she said the word, he's so hot, like 3 times in a sentence. And I don't know, I'm an adult. I get that this is like a new adult, but it's still, the writing feels very YA, even though it's NA for new adult. When the content is more adult, of course, because there's the spice scenes, I just felt like the writing needed to improve. And if she's going to write that type of spicy content, like pointed at more mature readers, then the writing could be more mature as well. And she definitely delivered in this book. So while I complained about the first part of the book being slow and the pacing being off and not delivering us the info in a concise way, She definitely wrote so much better. And I am actually I'm really proud of her. So great job, Rebecca Yarros. Your writing in this book is much better. So this next one is less of a hot take and more of a very fast review of my last video where I talked about Onyx Storm and Onyx Storm predictions, because I've got to give myself a little pat on the back because I got a couple things. Now this spot is very spoiler heavy. And it's just because I'm like, okay, I actually called some of these things and some of these things I didn't. So the first one is Violet's Signet. Totally called it. And then spoiler, there's a bit in the end of the book where something happens with Violet and she's like, how did this happen? I don't even remember this. And I'm pretty sure, so calling this for book 4, that it happened in her mind, in her dream, however, in that other realm of space that I called when calling her Signet. Death. Of course, we all knew that there would be deaths in this, although I called out 4 specific characters in the book that would die. None of them did. So unfortunately, that one I was wrong. I said that there would be an issue with Violet's mom and a balance of power. That somewhat comes up, but much later in the book. And this is due to there must be a balance of power between the signets that lie with the Venin, because Venin can have signets, that is a spoiler for this book, and the signets that lie with the writers. So let's just say that I was like, I think there's a balance struggle there, but I didn't quite know what. I thought it would be power in the terms of military strategy, but it ended up being balance and the power of signets and how they're balanced on each side. Violet's dad's research. We knew it would come into play in this book, and we were pretty sure it would, but oh my, did it. They even had to travel for this. So I thought that was really cool. My other prediction, that was my own prediction, was that Xaden wouldn't be able to touch Violet. Well, kind of got that one. He could touch her. He just was afraid to touch her, that he would lose control over the part of him that was Venin and that he would take from her. So they were still able to touch each other, but not like they wanted to. All right, hot take number 3, Violet's Signet. So, Violet's Signet, I love it. So my hot take is positive here. I think it's fantastic. I kind of called this one, like I said, in the last section, the last chapter of this video. And I'm just really glad that this is what it is, although I definitely don't think we've seen it manifest enough. I think it's more than what we're seeing. So in this book, they're calling it dream walking, but I do think it is much more than that, especially because of the prediction that I have from the end of the book where something occurs. I'm going to try not to spoil that one. And we don't know how it happened. She was only missing or passed out for 12 hours. So I think she can do a bit more than that and possibly maybe even pull other people into it. Or maybe if other people are put into an unconscious state, she can pull them all together. I'm not sure, but I think it's greater than we're seeing. I love this. I don't know if people are going to love this Signet. So yes, hot take. I love this one. I think it's great. Hot take number 4, which is the spice level of the book. So I would say that the spice level, if I had to give it spice on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to say 4. But I should let you know it's spiced in a slow burn way because of the fact that Xaden is too nervous to go all the way with her. He's mostly just kissing her and spending a lot of time just like touching her body so he won't lose control. And this takes Onyx Storm to a whole different level. That was kind of the naivety and like silliness almost that was Fourth Wing in the spicy writing, because in Fourth Wing I almost thought it was comical and I laughed a few times when like lightning was going off and striking things while they were getting intimate, because this just sounds stupid. I hated reading, like I didn't hate reading it because the spice was fun in those books, but it was just silly. So in this book it's done in such a more mature way, and I think this is what I was saying earlier about Rebecca Yarros' writing style and how she's grown. Because even the words she's using to describe things are much better. Now, does she overuse words like she did in the last book? Yes, but they've changed, and I don't know, I appreciated it so much more. And then we also got a bit of a, not so much spoiler, but like the tone was set for how the end of the book was. I'm seeing some reviews where people are saying that they were surprised, they couldn't believe it. Oh my gosh, how could this happen in the last few pages? And I saw that coming like a mile away. There was way too many moments that referenced it. And how could you not know? How could you not know, people, when you were reading this? It was right there, like, I don't know, 7 times maybe. I'd have to go back and recount. Okay, maybe 3, but a lot of times. And I was thinking that the big surprise ending spot was actually going to happen in book 4. I thought that it would have happened in the timeline of book 3, but I thought that Rebecca was going to tell us it happened in book 4, and we would get a flashback to it happening, or they secretly had done this thing while they were on an island, something like that. So I haven't said what it was. I'm being pretty good at not spoiling it, but I have to say that was coming, and the romance was written very, very well. So yes, 4 for Spice for me, and I love how it all connected in the end, and I love that there was much more tender moments where basically how they were let's say together in the previous books is just different from this one. It is much more tender. It is much more speaking of what a mature relationship might be. So very cool. Hot take number 5, which is my opinion on the dragons. So I think this book is a letdown, and I'm sure there'll be some controversy over that opinion. My reasoning is because in Iron Flame, we had division among the Empyrean. And I thought we were going to see that division much more. I thought that we were going to see a complete separation and more of an Empyrean war as the dragons were siding with different sides of the continent. That did not happen. And I haven't gone through book 2 to set a strong case for this, but I felt like a strong case for this was developing. So maybe that's book 4, especially now that they've explored their world and found the 7th dragons. So maybe that will play into it. But I was completely underwhelmed. Now, the thing that Rebecca did very well was that there just are more dragons. And we get like a view into those dragons' minds and how they worked with their rider, due to the fact that the last few chapters are in different perspectives. We don't just hear from Xaden and Violet. So in those chapters, we get to see behind the curtains between the dragons and their riders of some other characters that I won't spoil, but I thought that was great. So it's nice to see that not every dragon talks to their rider the way that Taryn talks to Violet, which is in a very stern way, or not everybody is as like, well, I don't even know how to describe Gale, but, you know, coarse, maybe. So some of them even have somewhat of a sarcastic relationship or fun. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. But when it comes down to the 7th dragon and finding Andarna's family, I was underwhelmed. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting what I got. And maybe that will manifest more in book 4 and 5. But upon meeting that group, I just thought they would be a bit more. Spoiler here, but they are peacemakers. They're a peaceful dragon. And I don't know, maybe that's because we've only seen Andarna raised by, you know, Taryn and Gale and how that has made her become. And so I just was thinking of her family as a reflection of herself and not so much as her outside of that family. And I also don't like the backstory of how she came to be in the Vale, away from the family either. I don't think that setup was done well either. So yeah, underwhelmed. Please let me know in the comments if you liked the way the dragon's story was approached in book 3, because I certainly didn't. Again, not bad, just not what I was expecting. And I was really, really hoping that we would get more of that Empyrean division. All right, saving one of my favorite parts for last. Not that it's my favorite, but it's the most interesting for a hot take, I think, and that is deaths. Who died? So I'm not going to say who died. If you're watching this video, you've already read the book, most likely, because I said there'd be spoilers in the beginning. But I just don't think I fully need to talk it through. You all know what's going on. I would say if you want to talk it through more, join the Discord so we can talk about this much more openly, and try not to put it in the comments. One thing I'm going to do is make a spoiler comment that we can thread. That way people don't have to expand it if they don't want to. But anyway, deaths. So as I mentioned earlier, I thought that it would be 1 of 4 people. It was not. And I said the death needs to be someone very close to Violet in this book. I think the book needs that for us to get that gut-wrenching moment that we had with Liam. At least I had a gut-wrenching moment. And I'm going to say we didn't get that. Like, not once. And I have to say, in books like this, I hate, and I mean hate, gotchas. Like, I cannot stand it when an author like builds up emotion, makes you want to feel, and then you don't. So like that happened too many times. It happens early in the book, where a dragon is injured so badly you think the dragon might die, and the dragon does not. And then it happens later in the book where someone very close to Violet seems like they'll die, and then they don't. And I never actually fell for it. The first one was too early, and so I thought, I don't think this is like a first, less than 100-page thing. Like, this isn't, she's setting this up that like a dragon's gonna die, and I just don't think they are. Like, somehow they'll get out of the situation, and they did. And then later on, when the second kind of gotcha happens, I was thinking, I don't think it's the right timing for this particular character. I don't think it fits in this book. Also, this character has just kind of been weaved in and out of the book too little to have this great big grand moment. It's not their time. And then sure enough, it wasn't. So Rebecca, not that you'll watch this, I have to say, if you're going to pretend off a character, give them more page time. That way we actually give a shit. Because I did not give a shit in either of those situations, because I was like, it's not, there's this much book left. Like in one of the situations, it's like, let me get around the area. Yeah, this much book left. I'm like, that's not happening. I don't know. It just didn't fool me. If some of you cried over that, I don't know. You have wonderful, sweet hearts. Good for you. Now the real death. Not going to say the name again, although some of you have, I'm sure, read the book if you're watching this. I didn't care. Am I heartless? I don't know. Like, we're going to spoiler this one a little bit. Not saying who, but just about how it happened. So first of all, the character came into the book more. So that covers something I said earlier about needing them to have more page time. So they definitely did, but they didn't have a page time in a way that made me connect to them more. Just that, oh, this person's getting more page time. That's cool. So when they passed on, I just felt unaffected. Yeah, I don't know. And also the way it happened, I can tell you how it could have been more impactful. So when this death happens, it happens in a way where the characters cannot react to it. They're forced in that situation to not show emotion. And so when they're removed from that situation where they can all be together and the gravity of this can rest on their shoulders, and they do have the time, and there's plenty of time. It's in that lull in the book, so nobody can say in the comics, oh, no, they had to get here, they had to get there, or it mattered, or they had to go get in front of their commander. No, they didn't. They had hours and hours and days, if not weeks, like to talk about this and mourn. So how I would have written that is when they get to the situation where they're out of the situation and they can finally react, I think it would have been just really good to have Violet or someone else just show that gut-wrenching cry, sob, fall to their knees when they can finally let it out. And maybe their dragon's part of that too. Like, I felt like that would have showed bonding, that would have showed connection to the character, that would have strengthened the other character that's mourning them, and it just didn't happen. They leave the situation where they can't react, and then that's it. They go about kind of their business. It's talked about here and there, but it's not like they literally go on just traveling again. Like, I don't know. Come on. You bored us for, I don't know, a bajillion pages traveling for stuff that I think could have honestly been edited from the book, and you don't give us those few pages where you could have really, really written in some emotion, and you didn't? I don't know, man. Bad. This is bad. I hated it. There's another death later. Not as disappointing as this one. Definitely a bit more emotion to it, but still not enough that like it caught me, you know? So I wanted, like, deaths have meant more in other books. And because death happens so often in this book, especially, with the parapet and becoming part of the war college and how their lives seem to expire very quickly and they don't live long, when they bring it close to home with the close to home character, I think that is a moment to focus on. They did it with, Rebecca did it with Liam. She can do it again. Not that I love main characters dying, but like, I want to feel that again. Last hot take, number 7, is the Venin. So we get a lot more of the Venin in this book, as we expected. And did I like that or not? I'm going to say it's mid. Some of these other hot takes were like, yeah, I loved that. Some of these hot takes were like, no, I didn't like that. But this one's just kind of in the middle. We got a lot of confirmations from some things we suspected about the Venins, and we got some new things. The new things being that they can have signets. And then the other portion of that being that if they have a signet, then it basically needs to happen on the other side with the riders, because the balance of magic, the balance of power has to be the same on both sides. So that was a bit of a revelation. And then with the Venin, big spoiler here, is we have a premonition of this. Like, it shows up earlier in the book. So basically, this happens where another member of the book starts to wield shadows, right? And we know Xaden is turning Venin, or he's starting to. He's trying not to. But when that other character starts wielding shadows, I was like, uh-oh. Well, Xaden's absolutely going to turn Venin. Like, that has to happen. So whether you read the book or not, you'll know how that happens or doesn't happen. But I don't know. I felt that happened too early. So in this book, Rebecca says there's 2 characters that have not shown what their signet is yet. And everybody's getting nervous because if you don't show your signet, you basically like implode or whatever. So one of them shows, and maybe I could be lack of remembering, but I don't think the other one has yet. And I have a really good idea of what that signet's going to be in the next book. So I don't know. I think it was just kind of mid. Yeah, it was fine. It was what I expected. Some of it wasn't, but then it made sense when it did. So yep, Venin can have signets. They must balance the power on the other side. If one has lightning, someone else should. Doesn't always work that way, it seems, but like, it's pretty darn close. So interesting. Not revolutionary, not amazing, just meh. Okay. Oh, and one more hot take, touched on this earlier, is the ending. So I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about the spice in the books and about Violet's signet, but this ending just didn't seem like a cliffhanger to me. So that's the hot take. The ending is not a cliffhanger. And I think a lot of you are going to be like, what? Of course it's a cliffhanger. Of course it's a cliffhanger. But no, I still don't think it was. There was just too many signs that this was coming. Like, I just feel like I called it halfway through the book. Not even, maybe even earlier than halfway through the book. So, and even how it happened. Like, I felt like it would even happen that way. So, I don't know. Down. Bad ending, but not bad ending because it wasn't a good ending. I actually think it's really cool. I'm actually excited for book 4 in terms of that. But yeah, meh, because like I just knew it was going to happen. Maybe that's my signet. Maybe I'm intrinsic in some way and I can see the future. Who knows? All right, quick hot take rating as well. How would I rate this book? That's tough because I feel like I need more time with this. I literally just finished this book maybe 30 minutes before recording this episode. So you're getting hot take. And usually I need time to marinate to think about how I enjoy books. Definitely loved the connection between Violet and Xaden more than I have in previous books. So that is up there. So good. Hated the pacing, loved the writing. Really didn't like how she killed someone off in this book. Really didn't love the dragons in this book, but I loved other parts of the dragons in this book. So honestly, it's kind of meh. I think I like this book the very least out of all 3 books so far. And I know it's a building book. I know it's a bridge, right? It's a middle book. Middle books are often like this, but I think it could have been more. So this is going to it's between a 2 and a 3. Like if I could give a half, I'd say 2.5. But if Rob won't let me give a half, I'll say 3. It's not up there. Sorry, y'all. Just isn't. Maybe I'll do another episode. Maybe I'll have more time to think about this, but hot take is, nah, wasn't it? Sorry, Rebecca. Sorry, Fourth Wing lovers, but I'm hoping that we get much more out of books 4 and 5. Thanks for watching, everyone, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can catch more videos like this. See you next time.